Hello again. I had a very long discussion yesterday with Bella of the Middle English Manuscripts YouTube channel, which she recorded. It lasted for about an hour and a half. For those that feel that they can bear hearing me discuss critical race theory with somebody for that length of time, I give a description in this video. We are working our way through a fairly authoritative introduction to the subject of critical race theory and examining the points made in the book. Something which came up was the idea that white objections to black hairstyles such as afros or dreadlocks might be seen as racist. I honestly do not see this, and I thought I might explain why. There are certain conventions in society, and if we want to get on professionally and socially, we need to abide by these. Things like wearing a collar and tie in some jobs, keeping a haircut to a reasonable length, not smelling awfully of sweat, keeping your fingernails clean, polishing your shoes, stuff like that. In the late 1960s, for example, any man with very long hair would find it all but impossible to get a normal, respectable job in an office or shop. I had long hair at that time and experienced prejudice which prevented my working in some places. The opposite case was also true, in that young men who shaved their heads very short could be mistaken for skinheads and also find their employment prospects harmed. In those days, by the way, anybody with hair over his collar was liable to be taken for a homosexual or artist. Race had nothing to do with any of this. Today, things are not so strict, but even so, there are rules and conventions about hair. If a man wants to grow his hair to shoulder length and then dye it purple so that it looks like a clown's wig, he's likely to have trouble getting a job in a firm of accountants or lawyers, say. Weird hairstyles like locks or afros are much the same. Of course, everybody should be free to have the hairstyle they choose. No one's debating that for a moment. But others are also free to tolerate eccentricity or not, as they themselves choose. Race has nothing at all to do with it. If you want to look strange by current standards and have dreadlocks hanging down your back or a gigantic bushy afro, then that's fine, but people might treat you differently. It's not just hair, of course. At one time, a tattoo was a sign of prison or the Navy and would definitely harm your chances of working in an office. I've known people that had tattoos on their hands and they would put a sticking plaster over them if they went for a job interview and little tricks like that. Tattoos were not a good look 40, 50 years ago. These days, tattoos on the arm are acceptable, but a tattoo on the face would make you less acceptable or less attractive to many potential employers. My cousin, who was, by the way, half gypsy, had a dotted line tattooed around his neck with the words "cut here." I need hardly say that awful societal prejudice prevented him from getting normal work. Speaking for myself, I don't really care a damn about a man's hairstyle, but those who set out to violate the general code of societal norms will find their life difficult. This is what happens to men who locks their hair or have enormous great afros. If it's causing you trouble, then get your hair cut. Racism does not enter into the equation.